Episode 2.
Episode 2.
We're like professional podcasters now. I think we're, excuse my voice, I'm a little sick.
It's all right.
But I'm still at work.
I think it takes 3 to be official.
I mean, we never really missed work for being sick out in the field.
No.
Right? You just showed up, said that you had allergies, got everyone else on the job sick. And then you all got sick together and worked through it.
Yeah, I think there's no sick days.
Right.
The shit's got to get built, man.
You miss work, you miss pay.
No. The only way to go home is like you shit yourself. Really, I mean.
And you don't even do that. You go to the porta potty, wipe your ass with a sock.
Ugh. In the summer heat, those are saunas,
Listen,
bro.
I had to do a job walk last week. Wow, this is going to be a great way to start this off. I had to take a shit. I hadn't shit in a job site porta potty in a while. And I was like thinking like, man, I could hold it and stop somewhere. I was like, you know what? Let's remember where my roots are. I'm going to go in here. It really wasn't that bad.
No.
You know, it's kind of like just like how I remember it. Once you get used to it, it's not bad at all.
Yeah, the problem is when it's hot outside and the toilet paper just disintegrates.
Yeah, City Center. Do you remember the shitters at City Center?
I never worked there, thank God.
Dude, they were bad.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of bean dip, huh? That's crazy.
They were fucking bad. But episode 2,
yeah,
we're back. We dropped some clips from episode 1. How do you think that went?
It went all right, man. I mean, look, we got some good hits. A little, not too much hate. I mean, obviously everyone's entitled to their opinion, and their opinion is exactly that. It's theirs. It's not mine. I got mine. I think it was badass.
I think it went good.
I think it was great, man.
Pissed a couple people off, I think, maybe.
A couple. But that's their problem. I don't think it's ours.
I mean, maybe we should, I know we're talking about releasing clips, but, I think we should probably just start releasing clips, but then dropping the whole thing and really seeing what kind of fucking chaos we can do.
Yeah. And just keeping it real. I think it did well because we kept it real. We told the truth. We weren't trying to plant seeds to get reactions. It was all genuine and 100% how we feel.
100%. Mm-hmm. And so I think if we just kind of stay on topic and we know, right, we're going to talk about all things union, all things Vegas, all things construction, anything and everything that's kind of going on in our city that we think are important to our members is going to kind of be the topic. So you ready to jump into some stuff?
Yes, sir. Let's go, man.
Why do you think people aren't coming to Vegas anymore? It was just reported June year over year had 11% drop in tourism. The last time there was an 11% drop in tourism was January of 2009.
Damn.
And we all know what the economy looked like 2009, 10, and 11 here. So should we be worried?
I don't think we should be worried 2009 worried,
but
I think we should definitely be worried. And I think, obviously, with the change in administration and everything, money's funny. Everybody's getting a little nervous. Mm-hmm. But let's not all just blame the administration, right? I think that Vegas has lost its luster, man. Yeah. It's not... Obviously, I was actually at a lunch today with some folks, and they were talking about when the mob ran Vegas. A bunch of old-timers, old Vegas-timers, Vegas old-timers, and they were talking about, like, when the mob ran it, and, it was the who's who's, and, it was super exclusive. It wasn't just about paying money and getting a VIP. Like, you had to be somebody.
Right.
And they treated you well. And, we both travel a lot for work, and I could see how, like, the hospitality industry still is very good in Las Vegas, for sure, compared to other places in the country, man. But I think the attention to details is being lost. The corporations obviously have taken over the Strip.
Yeah.
I mean, $500 a night is crazy, bro. So you think about people who travel in, the travel expenses here, plus the room, plus a show ticket. You ain't got no money to gamble.
No. No. And it used to be you would get a cheap room and you'd have cheap food. You can get a buffet for $5. There's nothing like that anymore. They have priced out kind of the middle class person. And so these people from California and Utah and Arizona that would typically drive down here because it was a cheap getaway to have fun, it's not a cheap getaway anymore. You get nickel and dime to death. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're paying $25 to park. If you want to touch the water bottle inside of your room, it's like $20 fucking for a bottle of water. And these corporations, MGM, Caesars, they just had a shareholder call, and they're saying there's nothing to worry about. F1's coming to town in November. There's all these shows. There's nothing to worry about. And it worries me a little bit just because it's such a dramatic drop. My wife is in the hospitality service. She works at a major hotel. And when she's telling me that the room occupancy is at 30%, that's a problem, you know? And it's crazy for us in the construction industry because I remember 2008, right? There's the Great Recession, but we had City Center going. Like we had jobs going. It delayed the pain here for a little while because construction was going. And then you look at 2020, we had Raider Stadium. And so every time there's kind of an economic downturn here, it seems like construction carries the economy during those low times. And right now we have A Stadium coming, we have Hard Rock, we have Brightline, we have Creech, right? And so those are some good projects that'll keep our members working, but it definitely seems like there's a downturn coming in the Vegas Valley, while once again at the same time construction's gonna keep people going. You know?
It is, and there's an opportunity right now with the Nevada legislature to bring a bigger, better, more jobs, right? With the film studios.
So that's a big thing. So tell us about the film studios. What kind of happened with that in the legislature, and how can it still become a thing? Because, you know, it died in the legislature.
Yeah, man. So I think it's important to highlight there was two film bills, right? One from Bircher, one from Sony, Warner Brothers, Howard Hughes. So obviously there was a divide there with two separate bills. I want to say Building Trade supported both. We were more involved with one than the other, but that wasn't because we chose to. It's because one of the groups chose to involve us more.
Right.
The passed out of the Assembly. We talked about that in the last episode. You know, went over to the Senate, and it was hard to get the votes there, man. You know, we wanted to see it go up on the board, sine die the last day, and it didn't make it up on the board.
It never went to the floor to vote.
No.
But if it had gone to the floor, it didn't have the votes.
I don't know. Yeah. That's to be determined, bro. Right. I mean, that's what we wanted to see. I wanted to see, again, it goes to like, you say you're a friend of labor. I want to see it. Prove it. Prove to me that you're a friend of labor.
Right.
I'm asking you to vote for jobs.
Right.
And there's an opportunity to bring it back. You know, governor said this is a jobs bill.
Will the governor sign the bill if it hits his desk?
Yeah, I believe so. He told me to my face, I will sign this bill if it hits my desk.
And so how do we get it passed if the legislative session's over?
Special session.
Okay.
I don't think, look, to bring it back now and this be the only thing on the agenda is a heavy lift. But there was a lot of unfinished business in the legislature in last session. And so I think they bring a couple things back that obviously are important to Nevada. Jobs, crime bill, healthcare, things like that. Figure those things out because, again, it's only 120 days in our legislature every other year. Right. So it's a lot to try to cram into 120 days. So then now we're going to hit the special. My main concern and priority is this film bill.
So only the governor can call the session, right? Mm-hmm. And the governor sets the agenda.
Yes.
So the only bills that will be heard during a special session are bills that the governor wants to be heard.
Correct.
So any bills that maybe he didn't get passed during the regular session, I'm sure he's going to put on there. I know there was a crime bill that didn't get through that was important to him. Obviously, with some changes in the federal funding of certain programs, right? We might need to relook at some stuff. But if he puts it on the agenda, then he's essentially wanting it to pass. He wouldn't put it on the agenda if he didn't want it to go through, right?
Correct.
There's no reason to put it on there to watch it die.
Or if he believed that it wasn't going to pass.
Right.
Yeah. And that's our job. Our job right now is to lobby that bill as hard as we can, and not even lobby. It's like you said in the last time, bro. We're not up there because we don't get paid to lobby. Like Sony, Howard Hughes is not giving Daniel and Vince money to go make this happen. We are fighting for our members. Like this is something we truly believe in because we need it.
Right. Especially with the way the economy looks like right now.
So before you jump into the next thing or whatever, but talking with some elected officials, they were like, how can we give taxpayers' dollars to these billionaires and these things? And, you know, when they're talking about cutting Medicaid and Medicare and they want to make these cuts. And so my question to them is, so your proposal to fix that is to keep the unemployment rate low so that more people depend on government assistance that isn't available?
Right.
Why not create jobs to help sustain?
So people don't need to be on Medicare.
Yes,
right?
100%.
Right.
Yes.
If you give people good paying jobs, and I say this all the time, when our members are working, we don't need Medicare. We don't need free lunches. We don't need college tuition. We don't need any of that because we can pay for it.
Yes.
So the problem is there's not enough people with good enough jobs, good enough paying jobs to be able to sustain their lifestyles. give them the jobs, and then you don't need all the government funding, because our members do not need government handouts in the forms of free money or free healthcare. But we do need the government, which has historically done this, to give us some jobs, right? Build some cool shit, put our members to work. We'll work for every dollar that we get, and we won't need free shit.
100%.
Just put us to work, right?
Yes.
I mean, like the Hoover Dam. The Hoover Dam was created, it was a government-funded project to get us out of the Great Depression. Historically, that's a good purpose for government.
Yes.
And so the Raider Stadium has proven to be successful. There was a lot of opposition with Raider Stadium, with the way the funding structure worked, but it has done its job. I'm confident the A's Stadium is going to do the same thing, and I'll be confident that the movie studio not only creates temporary construction jobs for our members, because once we build the shit, we move on. We got to build something else. But it also diversifies our economy, because the people aren't coming here to gamble, like you said earlier.
Yeah.
They don't want to gamble. The younger generation doesn't gamble. And guess what? They don't drink either. They're all taking mushrooms and fucking acid and shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like it's a different group of people, and our city needs to diversify our economy. Conventions, obviously, big deal. We hold on to those. Those will never end. But the entertainment aspect of what our city is has to change. And if we can bring in an entire new industry, that's better for everybody.
Yeah, 100%, man. And just like we started the podcast off talking about tourism being down, you're diversifying the economy, truly. Not just with sports. Yeah. This is a whole new industry that's not dependent on tourism. Right. It's dependent on the film industry. And we don't have to worry about okay, well, F1's coming, or the season's about to start, or Golden Knights or whatever. Like, no, dude, this is something that they're going to be making here, creating. And, project labor agreement on that job as well. Right. And they expanded it in the special session. I think that's important to let the electeds know that we had just the studio. Whatever was going to be built on the studio for the studio was covered under a project labor agreement. Now we've expanded it outside the walls of the studio.
Nice.
And Howard Hughes is working with Southern Nevada Building Trades to get more properties to be built with construction labor, which historically hasn't really happened. Yeah. They use some union contractors, but they're committing to using union labor, the workforce,
Does our project labor agreements that we have in place, like for A's or for what we're hopefully going to have for the movie studio, does it bar non-union contractors from bidding and winning that work?
No.
They can still do it, right?
Non-union contractors could bid the work if you're just going to use a union workforce.
Yeah.
To what the law says you're going to do.
You're going to pay the wages and benefits
yes.
of what a union worker would make, so that they can have a sustainable lifestyle.
Yes.
Based off of fair wages and working conditions.
100%.
Because that's always the argument. Oh, you're just trying to make it all union. There was non-union contractors on Raider Stadium.
Yeah.
But they had to work with the unions, and the workers that were on that job, even if they were core employees for these non-union contractors, they had to get paid like they were union members.
Yes.
Because the city is, or the state or the county or whatever the municipality is funding the project. And if we're going to use tax dollars to fund a project, we should create good paying jobs. Bottom line.
That's called the prevailing wage.
Right.
The wage that prevails, right?
Right.
And so anytime, I think there's a lot of people, like even myself in the field, you don't understand these things, right? Because we don't care. We just want to show up. We just show up to the job site with our lunchbox, our boots, our hard hat. We're ready to go to work, right? There's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes to these jobs, and everything that in my current role that I work on doesn't come to light till like 2 or 3 years later, right? This film is going to maybe be 3 or 4 months. It's shovel-ready project. It's ready to go. But prevailing wage is anytime that there's taxpayer dollars, public money going into a project, they have to pay the wage that prevails in that county. Mm-hmm. And that's what, like I said, that's what uplifts the economy. Right. It's not just the jobs. There's a reason that construction jobs carry the economy in economic downturns, is because the prevailing wage.
Mm-hmm. And there are some politicians that would want to get rid of prevailing wage.
Yeah, I don't. Right? I think yes, there is politicians that want to get rid of prevailing wage. Traditionally, they're Republican. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that there's Democrats that think we should have these jobs. We're finding that out real fast right now.
Well, yeah, because we're trying to get the votes.
Trying to get the votes.
And you would think that all the Democrats would just be an automatic yes, because they're supposed to be for us.
Yeah.
But that's not the case.
No.
And the more, look, this podcast is going to get political every time, I think, just because our members sometimes, I think, wish we were less political as an organization. Mm-hmm. We should stay out of politics, but we can't, because our livelihood depends on policy.
Yes.
Right. And historically, the Democrats have been pro-labor. Here's the problem. Recently, the Democratic Party has failed the working class people. There's absolutely no doubt about it. It is 100% true. And the reason, in my opinion, is because they take money from big business and corporations, just like the other side does. So now our members, I truly believe, are now a people without a party. We don't really have one anymore, it doesn't feel like, right? Because the big corporate interests have paid off both sides. And you cannot be a master to two people.
No.
And so you cannot take money from big business, big corporations, big pharma, whoever the fuck it is, and then turn around and try to say that you're for the little guy, that you're for the working class. And it's like we don't even have a party anymore. And so it puts us as union leaders in such a tough spot because we just need people in there that's going to push the button for us. And it's become harder and harder to find those people because they're all bought and paid for by big corporations, right? Both sides. And so, you know, the Democratic Party, I mean, maybe Elon Musk is onto something. Maybe we need a third party. You know, maybe we need something different. And I was thinking like, yeah, let's just do the Labor Party. I don't know if you've researched the Labor Party, but I think they were communists. So
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to work. But we need something. Like we need something where, you know, a politician just doesn't take the money from big corporations, but you almost will never win if you don't.
Yeah.
So what are they supposed to do? You know what I mean? And so we're just stuck in this bullshit system where the little guy, the middle class worker, gets fucked.
Yep. Every time.
Over and over again.
And a lot of it is the Democratic messaging. The messaging is wrong.
So
and
bad.
we can't get our members to relate to a lot of the Democratic messaging that happens. I mean, you'll see these commercials and they're like on a solar job or something. And I'm like, that's great, you know? But it's all about the messaging. They do a horrible job messaging. I remember when Steve Sisolak was running for governor the first time, and I went to the Raiders stadium, and I was there, and you know I was talking to the workers on the job site about the election coming up, and you know asking who they're going to vote for, and what do you think? What's your opinion? And they were like, "Well, not Steve. What? He ain't done shit for us." And I'm like, "You're literally standing on a job site that happened because of Steve Sisolak."
100%.
Right, and you know, two sides to the coin. You look at Joe Lombardo, signed the A's bill, right? Pushing for this film bill, not pushing, but says he'll sign it.
Not standing in the way of it.
Yeah, not standing in the way of it. And the amount of union jobs that a Republican governor could create in 3 years if this film tax goes is more than any other governor in the history of Nevada. He will put more union construction workers to work than any other governor in Nevada's history. Whether he likes it or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
We never had that conversation. But it's a big deal. And I'm not saying that to piss off the Republicans and be like, he's pro-union. Like, no, I think he's pro-job. He's pro-job, and that's a big deal, dude.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, like a lot of times our members, I don't think understand how important policy is, right? And so, like when you go to the national level, it gets real messy, right? I mean, I always tell the members like, let's focus on local politics because once you get to the national level, it's like fucking crazy. No one knows what the truth is. But we're gonna have members on the Brightline Project, which is funded and has a project labor agreement because of the Biden administration.
Yes.
100%. There's no arguing it. We are now doing pre-jobs for the PLA that we have on Creech. The reason we have a PLA on Creech is because of the Biden administration. Absolutely no doubt about it. But our members don't really know that.
No.
And they're never going to know that. And even when I tell them that, they don't want to hear it because they just hate, you know, they'll just hate Biden so much. But policy is what matters. And whatever, you can think whatever you want about, you know, the Joe Biden administration, right? A lot of good policy for union, particularly building trades unions, came out of that administration, like more than any other administration we've ever seen, right? And so you could say like, well, he's fucking crazy. He was senile. It wasn't him who was doing it. It was an auto pen. I don't really give a fuck. The policies that came out of that administration put our members to work, gave us protections,
1,000%.
right? And now we have the new administration and, you know, jobs are getting canceled. Union construction jobs are getting canceled every fucking day under this administration. But it seems like a large portion of our membership, or at least the ones that are loudest, just relate to that fucking guy.
Yeah,
know?
no.
And so it's like, what the fuck are we supposed to do? You know, how do we get through the bullshit and just look at policy? To me, it's policy.
Yeah. And well, you said it. The loudest members are the ones that are pro-Trump.
Yeah.
Well, he's a loud guy, so they relate to like, oh yeah, he says what he wants to do. I don't care if it doesn't make sense. He's you know going against the grain, and that's what we're doing. So I don't think it's a lot. the percentage is not greater, they're just louder.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of guys who just don't feel like engaging in that fight. Like it's not worth their time to like sit there and argue like member on member, you know.
Yeah.
I think they're just like, whatever. I want to keep going.
I mean, every time I'm on the job site or at the union meeting and politics gets brought up, that's what gets brought up, man.
The membership is always more engaged in DC politics than local politics.
I know.
Because it's more advertised. They see it on TV. They feel like they're in the know, and it's like, dude, I hate DC politics.
Yeah.
I am not a fan of it. I like being in control of my house, where we're at here, our front yard. You got a pothole that's in front of your house. Like, do you know who to go talk to get that fixed? Like, no, but did you see what Trump did? Like, who cares, bro? You're crying about your neighbor. You're crying about what's happening in your street, in your front yard, and you have no clue how to fix it.
Right.
And that's the importance. Like, I like being able to be involved in things that I can help fix and that I have access to. I don't have access to everything in DC. Those people don't know my name. Yeah. All 63 legislators in this building know my name. They know who the building trades are. They know, who the painters union is or glazers and all that. So they know the building trades. And once the members recognize that, that's what's going to be important. That's where the power comes from, the power in the people. And they'll be able to be educated. And again, we talked like a lot of construction workers don't like feeling insecure about things, right? Yeah. We don't like knowing or admitting that we don't know shit. Yeah. So we just would rather stay away. So when the rubber hits the road and you're like, hey, man, you got an opinion, let me educate you on what, channel that same energy right here on city council, channel that same energy on county commission. They won't do it. No. You know what I mean? They get a little gun shy
because they think they think and believe, right, that they understand the national politics, which none of us do. Like, it is all such a fucking bullshit game. There is no way to get the truth anymore. Mm-hmm. But local politics, it is easier to understand it. We have more access to these people. We can talk to these people. We see how they vote. And so they just, I think, feel more uncomfortable with the local politics. So like you said, they just don't know about it. But it's our job to get them engaged, right? Yeah. I will never change a member's opinion on who they want to vote for president. It's never going to happen. There's too much noise outside of that. But I should be able to educate our membership on local politicians, city council, county commission. I mean, we've been working with the county commission on a community benefits agreement for a long time. You know, we've been able to get members out there to vote or out to the county commission meetings to kind of stand there and have their voices be heard. The impact that would have is way more than anything that can come out of the federal politicians' courthouse. You know what I mean?
100%, yes.
That's where we need to focus our energy. And I know, that would be a huge deal. Getting like some sort of a community benefits agreement on a county level to cover all those projects. Yeah,
man. I just met with County Commissioner Tick Sigerbloom. He's interested in helping us run some of that policy through the county. It's looking good. I feel like we got the votes there. Mm-hmm. And it's going to put local people to work. And like, the type of community benefits agreement that I'm talking to the county about is, not targeted to a specific community, like traditional. It's more like kids aging out of foster care, veterans, right. Helping people who don't traditionally have a pathway into apprenticeships gain access to our schools, man, and helping those people out. If it's the taxpayer dollars going to a project in the county, let's say a fire station, a police station, and it's taxpayers dollars being put to the construction of this, there should be a certain percentage of first year apprentices who live in that county, right? And again, there's state, city, county funded workforce development programs, mm-hmm. right? Then I'm a member on a few of the boards of workforce development, and I try to explain to them, the market dictates the demand for apprenticeship. So if there's not a lot of union jobs, how am I supposed to bring people into a union apprenticeship? Right. If we got 300, 400 apprentices on the out of work list, how am I supposed to go to any community, say, give me your dues, your $36.50 plus $100 registration fee, and by the way, you're not going to go to work yet because we're waiting for this job to start. Right. We can't do that. No. The market is what dictates the demand for apprenticeship. Right. This is not a college. There's a lot of misconceptions of what apprenticeship school is, dude, and they don't really understand that it's not a college where you go get educated, do 4 years, and then you're a journeyman, you go work with no work experience. It's earn while you learn. Yeah. And so you're working while you're going to school. And I'm sure a lot of the apprenticeship schools operate the same way, where you got to have work hours plus class hours, and that's how you advance to the next period,
Yeah. And the worst thing that we can do is have apprentices on the out of work list. When apprentices are not working, they don't want to stick around because they need to work. And the one way to increase the demand for apprentices is on publicly funded projects to put something in the requirements that require a certain percentage of apprentices to be on that job, so that we're training the next generation of construction worker. Because look, you know, a lot of people thought when AI came out that it was going to take blue collar jobs. That is not what's happening.
No.
AI is not coming for the plumbers. AI is not coming for the glazers. AI is coming for the coders and the graphic designers and all those jobs. We need to develop and train the next generation of construction workers. The average age of a construction worker right now is in like the fucking mid 40s.
Yes.
That is too old. These young kids don't realize they've been brainwashed into thinking the only way to be successful is to go to college. That is starting to change. You are starting to see it change. You're starting to see even politicians on the national level go, wait, we need to start looking at these trade schools, right? These kids come in here, they do 4 years making money while they're in school. They get out of school, they're making $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
You're making $100,000 a year, you know. But if there's no jobs for them, then it doesn't work. They leave because these kids, look, they're a little softer than than we were, right? Mm-hmm. They don't like to get yelled at. They don't really like to get dirty or hot. And so, like, if you're only giving them some hours and some of those hours are like that, they would rather figure out how to make money on TikTok or Twitch or whatever the fuck they're doing on their computers. Yeah. And so we're now competing for these young people, and we're competing against those other industries. And so the only way to keep them is to keep them working. And we need these jobs to have standards that require a certain percentage of apprentices to go to work so that they keep their hours so that we can get the next generation of construction workers through.
Yeah, dude. And, you know, from the local I come from, like I said, 416, it's a tough trade. Yeah. You got to have a why of why you want to go punk rebar in the sun, especially in Las Vegas. It is not fun. No. But that's why we do our recruiting, like out of wrestling rooms, prison, veterans. These are people who need to work, and right. they you know, they get a small taste of that money right out of the jump where they thought they had no future. The trades is what I like to call the second chance. You know, yeah. You get a second chance. Nobody cares about your past, dude.
Right.
You know, as long as you're not touching little kids or doing some fucking funky ass shit, like right. You're gonna get a job.
Yeah.
And you have an opportunity, and it's yours to fuck up. It's yours to keep. It's yours to lose. It's yours. This is your responsibility. You know, this is not a job. It's a fucking career. It's an actual career where you could make a living and live the American dream.
Hell yeah.
You know?
I tell a story. I had a guy come to my window once. We were booming. We had a lot of work. He just got out of prison. He had tattoos all over his face. And I sent him to my old employer, to Walters & Wolf. I'm like, all right, here, you're going to go work there as a fabricator. And then 2 weeks later, another guy shows up. He just got out. He's got tattoos all over his face. He's like, my buddy told me about Walters & Wolf. It was his celly or something. Yeah. I'm like, all right, here, I'll send you to Walters & Wolf. A couple weeks later, I get a phone call from the superintendent. He's like, hey. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, these guys that you're sending me with tattoos all over their face. I'm like, yeah. He's like, keep sending them. They're the best workers I got.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like asking to go to the bathroom. You know what I mean? Like, sir, can I please go to the, you know, because they're so structured. They're the best employees that he had. Yeah. You know what I mean? The trades is an opportunity for people that may not have other opportunities. It's not, in my opinion, it's not necessarily like the last house on the block, right? It's not like, well, you failed at everything, we'll take it, right? Because it still is kind of hard to get into.
Yeah.
It still is something that you should be proud of and honored to be able to get into. But it really doesn't matter what your past is like. Like, you know, you can come into the trades with, you know, the worst type of past and create a very successful life. You know, a lot of our members, they own their homes. Yep. They take family vacations twice a year. They got a boat. They got a Harley. They buy a bunch of guns. You know what I mean? They have stuff. You know what I mean? Bro. They're able to live. And that's all most people want, you know? Like if you're wanting, when I go to the high schools and I talk to the kids, I say, look, if your dream is to become a doctor or a lawyer, don't come to my office, right? You got to go to college. But if you just want to make a living and buy a home and live your life, it might be for you if you like working with your hands, you know? I mean, think about the kind of work that we do is it's just incredible that people from so many different walks of life can learn a trade, a skill that no one can ever take from you. When you journey out, you journey out. That means you can journey anywhere in the country. You can go to Chicago or Atlanta or Florida or New York, and you have that card. You can go to work.
Yes.
You know, you can go to work and do your craft. And it really is a beautiful thing, but it starts with the apprenticeship.
It is, dude. And you drive down the Vegas Strip for 5 minutes, bro. We build monuments. We build monuments, dude. Like we build what other people can't build anywhere in the country. And it's a beautiful sight, bro. I love it. And it's just like any blue collar dad you're driving. I built that. You know what I mean? See that there? Dad did that. Like, and it's a good pride. And that's what goes back with the community benefits, dude. If the community is building the community, there's a whole nother level of pride that goes into that community, whether it's North Las Vegas, Henderson, Las Vegas. Yep. If we put the people to work on the projects that are in their neighborhoods, dude, it's game changing.
100%. When there's a government, when our local government is funding a project, the city or the county, and I see an out-of-state contractor performing work, it fucking pisses me off, because if we're building a school, I want to build a school my kid goes to.
Yes.
I want to build the library, the West Las Vegas library that my fucking kid goes to. Not some fucking guy from Utah. He don't give a fuck. And then he comes in and he takes his paycheck that should have gone to one of our local people. The company takes all the profits from the job that should have gone to one of our local contractors, and they leave the fucking state.
Yep.
So why don't we have agreements in place? Why can't our politicians understand that we should have agreements in place to ensure that when our public dollars are building public facilities, it should be the fucking public building the facilities?
Because it makes too much sense. And any elected official, the literature writes itself, bro.
What's the opposition? What does the opposition say? What is their argument?
It's going to cost too much, and that it's too much work on the county or city staff, which is bullshit.
It's prevailing wage anyways.
They say it's too much paperwork, and I'm like, if you're still doing paperwork, you're behind the times. Yeah. I'm telling you, we're not the problem. It's taking a long time to do the paperwork. It's a click of a mouse.
Yeah.
Like these are all spreadsheets. These are all things that are already electronically tracked, bro, with certified payroll.
Right.
It's one more column you got to add in there, and it's 2 clicks of a mouse. I'm sorry that you have to click the mouse, but if you're doing fucking paperwork, you got to go.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me, bro. And every elected that doesn't want to vote for it, to me, I'm like, you're basically denying your constituents the right to work in their own areas.
Right.
That's all you're doing. And like, that's what I was talking about. The literature writes itself. You could say, I put X amount of constituents to work in our community. I created jobs. Yes, you're creating a job if there's an Amazon warehouse, but like you said, Utah comes in, Arizona comes in, and the money leaves with them. Right. That shit don't stay here. And that's the one thing that used to fucking piss me off about the membership, dude, when they start talking about like all these fucking illegals in our unions. I'm like, dude, you're all pissed off at like whoever, whatever illegals you're talking about, that they're stealing our work, but you're okay with the non-union as long as he's white?
Right.
What the fuck are we talking about?
Right.
It blows my fucking mind, and I'm sure I'm going to get my ass chewed out for that.
I think this podcast is going to probably make both of us lose our jobs at some point.
If I lose my job for telling the truth, maybe this isn't the job for me.
But hopefully we could just become podcasters, brother.
Yeah, streamers. That's like, dude, it's honestly like when we go to talk to high schoolers about careers and stuff, and I always ask like, what's your top 3 jobs, right?
Yeah.
It's always like pro athlete, streamer, YouTuber, or some sort of influencer, and it's never construction.
No.
Ever, bro. So I look at the kids that are like, it's funny, bro. Like you see these memes, it's like, I used to love being the class clown until, you wake up at 4:30 every morning and it's like, yeah, shit's not so funny now, is it? But it still is funny, bro. Yeah. Like we have a good time all the time, man.
I seen that we do stretch and flexes now every morning. All these jobs try to prevent injuries, and seen the meme where it's like, yeah, I wanted to be the class clown at high school. And now I'm stretching at 4:30 in the morning with a bunch of dudes all hungover. They're all trying to stretch in the morning time.
I don't know if you want to touch on it. I think it'd be a great time. But when we're talking about morning meetings and safety meetings for the week, right? You meet at the GangboX or whatever. We've been hitting the jobs. The recovery committee, man. Mm-hmm. And that shit is changing lives. I feel like it is.
It's
dude.
incredible.
It's amazing. So, I mean, I'll let you touch on it too, but, so what we're starting to do for the people that don't know is we're, hitting the jobs before the morning when they give their Monday morning safety talks about check your rigging, check your harnesses, make sure you stay hydrated. The Southern Nevada Building Trades Recovery Committee goes out there and they give us the opportunities to speak to all the membership about mental health and substance abuse, man. Mm-hmm. And, the recovery committee's job is to let them know that the union has provisions and protections for one, to help them keep their job if they're struggling with substance abuse or mental health. And for two, the type of help that's offered through our union insurance that nobody takes advantage of, because it's not cool to talk about. Like, I understand, bro. You don't want to talk to me about what's going on in your household because you, whatever.
Right.
You don't have to. But here's a professional whose job is to listen to you. And I promise you, bro, they've heard it 18,000 other times. You're not going to tell them anything they have never heard. You're not going to shock them with the way you feel or what you're hearing. And people say like, oh, we're men, we don't talk about our feelings. Like, dude, next thing you know, you're putting a fucking bullet in your head, dog.
Right.
Like, that's unnecessary. Like, you don't have to do that. Like, for the male side of things, like, dads that have daughters and sons, who's going to walk your kid down the aisle, bro? Who's going to hold your grandbaby? It's going to be another man, dude.
Right.
And like, that's what I tell people. Like, as agents, we deal with a lot, bro. Or when I was an agent, I dealt with a lot, bro. I've had 2 people talk to me when they were on the edge of committing suicide. And it's fucking scary, bro. I'm like getting nervous even talking about it because I didn't like living that. I was glad that they felt safe enough to call me and tell me about it. But a lot of the mental health does come with the strain of not working, traveling for work. These are like mental health issues that construction workers deal with. And then they look for something to numb it, right? So then they're using or they're fucking drinking, and it's a motherfucker, dude. And it's something that's not talked about enough. I mean, you even know, dude, we went to one job and the guy's like, this is all personal. Don't go talk to these guys in the corner. They're like, fuck you, bro. Like, no, we're here for that reason because that stigma needs to go.
Yeah.
You got to we don't live in the world that we used to live in 20 years ago where, like I said, it's almost villainized for men to be men. We can't be providers and protectors without being toxic masculinity, and all this getting fucking labeled, bro. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, no, we're allowed to be providers and protectors. I'm not saying go home and beat your wife,
right?
Because dinner's not ready. But like, goddamn, bro, like, it's okay to be a provider and a protector, to love your family, to love your kids, to say I'm a proud American and not somebody fucking label you with something because you're like, we as unions say, build by be American. We're kind of getting away from that. We need to bring it back home and create these places where it's all right to talk about. And like I said, you don't have to talk to us, but your insurance that you pay for hourly will provide you the help you need.
Right. Well, and that help's never been advertised, right?
Yes.
So most members don't even know about it. And the recovery committee is a Southern Nevada Building Trades committee built up of rank and file members, agents, anybody that wants to be a part of it. We try to meet every other month. And we've done safety stand downs. But the goal of the committee is to bring the issue of mental health and substance abuse to the forefront, bring it to the surface, and talk about it. Because what a lot of members don't understand is in the construction industry, we have the highest suicide rate of any other profession. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's way up there. And, in 2023, there was 1,070 construction workers that died on the project. So they either fell off an edge, got squished, got electrocuted, fallen off a ladder. There's all sorts of ways people can die on the job. 1,070. That same year, there were 6,000 construction workers that died by suicide. That just suicide. You throw in overdoses, it's astronomical.
Yeah.
It's a serious issue that just can't be ignored any longer. And I went to a conference in Boston. And I'm sober. I got sober August 21st, 2011.
Congrats.
And so thank you, sir. And so I went to a meeting, like an AA meeting or a 12-step meeting when I got there. And I talked to this carpenter, and he's like, oh, man, there's a great recovery meeting Sundays at the sheet metal hall. And I'm like, man, you guys got a meeting at the sheet metal hall? And so I showed up there, and there was like 100 people there. There was construction workers. There was lawyers. Our prior Secretary of Labor, Marty Walsh used to go there.
Walsh, yeah.
And I was like, man, this is incredible. And so I came back and, we kind of talked to you, and Keith is a business agent for the sprinkler fitters. I've known him for a long time, and we just put something together. And so now we're doing recovery nights once a year. My union, District Council 16, has started doing recovery nights once a year also. And they hired a full-time mental health and substance abuse guy. So our union has a full-time worker, a full-time employee who only focuses on mental health and substance abuse. He is basically driving people to rehabs. Since he started the position, he's gotten somewhere north of 60 members into some sort of a treatment facility to get them the help that they need. And we truly are we're saving people's lives. We go to these job sites in the morning where they're used to hearing about, like you said, make sure you're tied off, make sure you're drinking water.
What color's your pee?
Yeah. If your pee is this color, you need more water. And then we come in and start talking about the safety issue of mental health and substance abuse. And you can feel it, man. These members, these workers, they want to hear it. You could hear a pin drop when we start talking, and we have some rock stars that get up there and speak, man.
Yeah.
And it's kind of shocks the system because they're not used to hearing construction guys talk like that. Like when we come out of a job and we start talking about our mental health problems that we've had or the substance issues that we've had and how we've been able to fix them, correct them, or treat them through 12-step programs or the therapy that every union offers, it's kind of eye-opening,
Yeah.
And we have a QR code that leads to a website where they can find all their stuff. And I know you've checked after some of the safety stand downs, and the traffic jumps,
skyrockets.
People are scanning that and looking at it because there's a need there, you know. And so I think it's incredible. I think we're building a community, and that's what the union's job is. The union's job is not just to negotiate your contract or manage your health insurance, right? Our job as unions is to better the lives of our members. And you can't better the lives of your members when they're dying,
100%.
when they're overdosing, when they're taking their own lives. If we as union leaders have failed, if our membership is overdosing and killing themselves at an alarming rate, we failed. We failed our membership. And so I take that part of the job extremely seriously. Every one of my members knows I'm in recovery, right? And I talk about it all the meetings. We have a recovery meeting at our hall every Thursday, and people come and go, and members call me all the time, and sometimes they show up and sometimes they don't. But we got guys, getting 5 months, getting 1 year, they're recovering, and we're giving back. We're giving the children of building trades members back their moms and dads.
Fuck yeah, bro.
And there ain't nothing better than that.
I'm living proof of it.
Yeah.
I'm living fucking proof of it. I've been sober since August 10th, 2024.
Congratulations.
Thanks, brother. Not to take a huge deep dive, but I owe a lot of that to you, man. I owe a lot of that to the brothers here, dude. I mean, without putting the trust in my brothers to get help. Like you said, dude, I remember calling you, talking to you, like, hey, bro, I think I need to get sober. What do you think? Do you think I'm an alcoholic? You're like, fuck, I don't know, bro. Like, that's for you to decide, not me. And it's game changing, dude. I never thought in a million years I would be sober, because I was always taught coming through the trades that's a negative thing. Like, oh, you're a bitch. You don't drink. Oh, what
Quitter.
the fuck's wrong with him? Yeah, quitter, spitter. Fuck, there's two things I hate, quitters and spitters. It's like, bro, like that applies to the job if you quit the job, but not quitting alcohol.
Right.
And like I said, dude, I have great conversations with my kids. They're calm. They're a lot better. There's 100 fucking benefits to it, man. And you start to realize you don't need alcohol to deal with life. That's a cheap fucking way out for me. Like, only speaking me. I'm not speaking on behalf of anyone else other than myself, man. And for me, I used it as a fucking crutch. And to me, that was weak. That was weak as fuck, that I would come up with. I would fabricate all these ideas, and I would convince myself that I needed alcohol to get through my day or to celebrate something. And it was all bullshit. I was fucking lying to myself. At one of our safety stand downs we went to, I remember we gave the speech, we did the thing in the morning, and I was walking back to my truck. Some guy goes, hey, bro. And I looked at him. He's like, I talked to you. I was like, yeah, what's up, man? And he was like, I just want to let you know, like, I think it's badass that you guys are making sobriety look cool. And he goes, a lot of years in the trades, it was cool to go to the bar. And he's like, things are changing. And look, people don't even just sit around on their lunchboxes and talk anymore. Now they sit on their lunchboxes. Everyone's on their phone. The camaraderie is kind of breaking down. And, but I feel like the tightness of a lot of crews is kind of fading away. But it was good to hear him say, we're making sobriety look fucking cool because we're so open and talking about it. And we're not really changing who we are as far as like, the alcohol part is changing, obviously, right? And that does change you internally. But I still talk the way I talk. I still dress the way I dress. I'm with the brothers. I'm still there for them. And honestly, bro, I could be there even more now for them.
Right.
Like I tell people, you're your brother's keeper. Like, this is how you become tight, and this is how you take care of each other, man, and watch each other's backs.
Right.
It's good shit, dude. I love it.
It's awesome. I mean, I don't know. I just think there's our jobs, as business agents. I have to sit on our health insurance fund. So I have to understand the healthcare system. And I have to sit on our 401k fund, right? So I have to understand the financial world. And, our members, they come to their business agent when they have problems. And you almost are like a therapist. And you're a negotiator because you have to negotiate contracts. And it's like all these different hats that you wear. I care about my members' well-being. And, when they are struggling mentally or struggling with substance abuse, that has to be the number one issue to fix, right? Because I can't, throwing money at that problem is not going to, negotiating them a better contract isn't going to make them better.
No.
You know what I mean? Putting them to work, putting them to work can make them better if that's the reason for their mental health. And,
Yep.
and so it's a combination of like hours and treatment and kind of understanding what their problems are.
Yeah.
You know, and it's our job as business agents to fucking service the membership.
100%.
Right? And be there for them. And so, you know, I think we're turning a corner. I mean, I really do believe, especially with the way our building trades is now, the Southern Nevada building trades, there's a lot of younger reps coming in, and it seems like things are changing. I mean, obviously, I haven't been around too long. I've been in this position about 7 years, but some of the older reps that I've talked to, some guys that have been around a long time, have even said like, yeah, things are feeling different. You know, like we're coming together, we're working together to try to make things better. And it seems like most of the other unions, they're all in on the recovery thing. Like they're down, they'll help us. And the way we're working together on community benefit agreements and project labor agreements, and the way our organizing committee is working together on trying to get jobs turned in. I mean, it's something that you've never really seen before. Yeah. You know, and it's powerful, and we have to stick together, you know. Obviously, amongst the building trades, you know, there's always jurisdictional issues, right? Mm-hmm. And every rep is going to do their job, and every rep is going to try to protect their work. But at the end of the day, we have a common enemy, and the common enemy is the non-union and these fucking politicians that are against us.
100%.
That's it.
Yep.
And we have to band together and fight them. Otherwise, we're fucked.
And that's the best thing, bro. Like, due to unfortunate circumstances, that creates bonds and trust. And so a lot of the times, man, like you said, the non-union, the bad guys, the bad actors in the political world, they're just making us fucking stronger, bro. And I love it. I love to see it, because I remember when I first came in, people thought I was fucking crazy because I would just shoot off at the mouth, and I was like, you know, oh, this guy's a wild card. You don't know what you're going to get with him. And then I just kind of took a step back and was like, you guys will all find out for yourselves. I know that I said what I had to say. I let you guys run. And now people are starting to see, dude, like these politicians are full of shit.
Right.
The non-union contractors are just fucking haters. They talk about a workforce shortage. There's no shortage in workforce. No. Why, if there was a shortage in workforce, why do we have so many guys on the out of work list? It's not a workforce shortage. It's a payment shortage.
Right.
If you paid your employees what they were worth for a skilled and trained craft,
right,
you wouldn't have to worry about that. But at the same time, you can't expect, again, we're master crafts people, right? We are masters of our crafts. So you can't have a guy in a crane, then jump out, put on a carpenter's tool belt, hammer up some forms. Like, this is not, dude, this isn't a handyman service.
Right.
Like, we're building big shit. Like I said, we're building freeways, we're building hotels, we're building all, you know, the infrastructure and everything that it takes for a city to run. And you can't expect one guy to do it all. Like, that guy's probably not worth shit, you know?
Right.
And it's important to know that, like, that the more that they try to fight and be bad, the stronger we're going to fucking get, bro. And I love it because it ignited a fire here. And like you said, dude, we're all coming together. We have the recovery committee. We have an organizing committee. We have an apprenticeship committee. We have a women's in the trade committee. We have all these different committees, dude. We have our first time homebuyers program, which is huge, dude. Like, this year alone, we've helped 10 families get into a house.
10 union families.
10 union families, down payment assistance, dude. And that's like, shout out to Community Access Lending, dude. Yeah. Josh and Chris have been doing a great job. And we're not asking for the money. Some people are like, oh, I heard they put that back on the back end. They don't put it on the back end. Like, no, dude, that's money that we're giving you for the down payment of your fucking house, and it's forgiven. Like, we're not asking for it back. We're not asking for nothing, bro. We're saying take the fucking money.
Right.
Take the money, buy your house, go live the American dream, right? It's great, dude.
That's awesome.
Right on.
Well, did you have anything else you want to talk about?
Nah, man, I think we're good.
I think we're good. All right. Until next time, episode 3 is going to be fire.
It's going to be great, dude. Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah,
Thanks, man. Yep.